On October 1st, 1958, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration began. It was the beginning of a rich and unique scientific history advancing us in space flight, aeronautics, space science, and space applications. From our own moon to the many moons that surround our dwarf and giant planets in our solar system, we have learned more than we could have ever imagined. I'm here to tell you about the achievements that NASA has made and how it has shaped and empowered our country as it is today. NASA formed as a result of the Sputnik crisis. On Friday, October 4th, 1957, the Soviet Union has an embassy in Washington, D.C., where they can come and, be themselves in America. Well, they had this huge party, and all the allies were invited, because this was our space race. This was something that was supposed to be very important to us, and we were all going to do it together, because it is one thing that unites us all. Nobody owns anything out in space. This isn't war. We don't need to go to war just to all go into space. And that's what we thought we had come to the conclusion of. Well, there was a man there, and Walter Sullivan is a reporter for the New York Times, or was back in the 50s. He was asking a few questions to some Russian influences there, and they let it slip that they could have had their satellite go up into space months before anybody else. So they were hiding technology, apparently, because we weren't that close yet. No one was. Well, after he hears this information, he gets a call from his superior, and his superior's like, Sputnik's been in orbit twice. It's revolved us twice. It's already in space. There's no surprise anymore. They sat there and lied to everybody about it, and it was a huge, huge deal. It almost started another war, because what we thought is that Sputnik was put into space to find intelligence of us. We thought they were going to discover some things we really didn't want people to know. Well, as a result, we sent Explorer 1 up into space. This was our response to Sputnik, Explorer 1. It was the first American satellite ever put into space. It carried the technology Cosmic Ray Detector, and it was designed to measure the radiation environment in space while it orbited. It is otherwise known as Juno 1, but they really don't like to use that, because we've also used Juno as space explorations for Jupiter, because it kind of sounds the same, and we just use Explorer 1 now. So if you hear both of them, and this is the time period, this is what they're talking about. The next step for America was putting men in space. Alan Shepard was called a Mercury astronaut. Now, he was sent into space. Now, Explorer 1 detected the radiation, but it only told us what was in the atmosphere. We didn't know if our bodies could handle the radiation coming in and out, because it's free range. We don't have an atmosphere that protects us from radiation. It comes straight through your body in space. You take it. Well, Alan Shepard, when we sent him up, told us exactly what we needed to know. Yes, we can withstand the radiation in certain parts of space. President John F. Kennedy sent these three men into space after he claimed May 25th, 1961, that he had dreams of putting men on the moon before the end of that decade. And he did. Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong, and Michael Collins were the first men on the moon. They witnessed what nobody had witnessed before, and it was beautiful. Our world from the outside. We actually saw what we were living in for the first time. Apollo 11 was the same. Was the shuttle that took these men there. It was the latest technology at the time. The latest. It was remarkable to see that. We saw Sputnik, and then these are what we're putting out. We were blowing them out of the water. Our technology was far superior to theirs. Even though they got theirs up first, we had better designs. We had better plans for our country. We weren't going to just put an aluminum can into space. We were going to take the whole drink machine, it was serious for us. It was a lot more serious than I think the Russians took it. And when they betrayed us by sending that up there, it really started an uproar, and this is what we did to keep the American faith strong, that we were still a world power. And this was really what set it off. As the commander, Neil Armstrong stepped from the vehicle onto the Sea of Tranquility, which is what NASA calls our moon, the Sea of Tranquility. He said it was one small step for man and one large leap for mankind. After the successful mission of the mission to the moon, we now have our eyes in the sky, which is what NASA calls all of our space satellites that watch over us. Calypso studies weather. she predicts our hurricane